Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2015 Battle of Los Angeles. I am your host, Big G Jamie, at the review booth shaped like a table. Spoilers will be coming fast and plenty, so there is your warning. We kick things off with your announcer for this evening, Melissa Santos, introducing Aerostar and Brian Cage. It's a goddamn Lucha Underground invasion. Cage even gets his Lucha name introduction over his normal PWG intro. This is something that I am okay with. The only thing that could excite me more than Lucha Underground stars turning up in PWG is PWG stars turning up in Lucha Underground. So, match 1, Brian Cage versus Aerostar. Cage and Star have been in the same ring as one another for some multi-man matches in Lucha, but this is the first time they've squared off against one another. We start things off hot as Star immediately starts running the ropes, ducking Cage's clothesline attempts, only for Cage to muscle out with Star's attempt at a Hurricane Rana. Not surprisingly, that's kind of the match there. Star using his high-flying based offense and Cage using his overwhelming strength. The match ends with Cage catching Star from a top rope nothing into a Steiner screwdriver for the free count. Brian Cage advances to the second round. Something just did not click with these two. There were quite a few botches, and unfortunately they all kind of happened in the last 3 minutes of the match, which really breaks your immersion. To the wrestler's credit, the botches were kind of understandable. In one instance, Aerostar went for what I think was supposed to be a springboard Hurricane Rana to Cage, who was sitting on the top rope. That's a very difficult maneuver to pull off, and I was just glad to see that Aerostar seemed like he didn't injure himself. But botched springboard followed by botched Yoshi Tonic isn't the kind of thing you want to see to get you into what is supposed to be an event highlighting some of the greatest wrestlers in the world today. With the level of hype and excitement surrounding BOLA, this was a poor way to kick things off. Well done to the fans though, very respectful. No you fucked up or botchamania chants during the match. They just let the wrestlers continue and carried on making noise when appropriate. It's instances like this that lend credence to the notion that the NXT crowd wish they were the PWG crowd. Match 2, Biff Busick versus Andrew Everett, and we're back to PWG regulars. A Biff is gonna kill you chant suggests that this match may do what I was expecting the last match too. As Chucky T on commentary helpfully points out, Biff's wrestling style is based on his technical prowess and striking ability, whereas Andrew is much more your typical high flyer. Excalibur adds that this kind of difference in wrestling styles did not do much for Aerostar last match, and that shows in the opening sequence where Biff gets tired of Everett's shit on 2 occasions. The first ends up with Everett getting chopped to hell, and the other ends up with Everett getting half and half suplexed. Everett manages to get some of his offense in after a springboard shooting star press to the outside. From there on out, the two trade the type of offense you would expect. Violent chokes and submissions from Biff, springboards, reversals, and Hurricane Ranas from Everett. Everett misses an inverted Phoenix splash, and holy shit, that's the first time I've ever seen that done. Finish sees Biff reverse Everett's attempt at a shooting star press with a European uppercut, another half and half suplex, and finally a running European uppercut as Biff gets the free count. Biff Busick advances to the second round. Well, fuck me if this wasn't exactly what I was hoping the first match was going to be. Biff and Everett gelled very well in what appears to be the first time they have ever met in the same ring. Granted, a lot of this was a you get your offense in and then I'll get mine kind of affair, but when they did get to some of the spots where cohesion was necessary to pull them off, they damn well did it. Well done guys, already completely forgotten that I was ever even slightly disappointed with the show. Match 3, Mark Andrews versus Will Ospreay, and we have two newcomers making their PWG debuts, both from jolly old England as well. Let's show those Yankees how it's done, eh lad? They shake hands flamboyantly and Mark gets in a sneaky kiss on the wrist, and they say chivalry is dead. Beautiful around the body Hurricane Rana by Mark. These guys have tremendous chemistry together, which isn't entirely surprising given their extended history in matches all over the UK, but it's truly worth bringing attention to. Everything is smooth as fuck. These guys aren't doing anything particularly revolutionary or performing any moves you haven't seen before, but they have some truly exceptional timing and tradition skills. I mean, Mark reversing a suplex into a stunner and then Will reversing a sunset flip powerbomb by backflipping Mark off him were two holy shit moments, and they didn't need any production values or gimmicks to do it. To me, that's the mark of a great wrestler. I don't know how much of this thing was planned or choreographed before they started, but the whole thing felt akin to watching a Jackie Chan fight. Like every part of the match was intricately and meticulously planned and practiced until the timing was perfect. The finish sees Ospreay hit a front flip DDT followed by an imploder 450 splash for the free count. Will Ospreay advances to the second round. Well, goddamn, this blew away every expectation I had going in. These two wrestled a superb match that quite rightly got the first unbelievable comment of the show from Excalibur. These two put on a wrestling clinic that I legitimately think every up-and-coming wrestler should watch. At first glance, it may not appear as though there was any high innovation here, but give it some thought and you can see that these two had maybe the most creative match of the night. The vast majority of the moves and performed were, at their core, very basic. They were just executed in new and unique ways. One piece of advice I see tossed about to wrestlers is to be different. Make yourself stand out from the crowd in every way possible. Ring-wise, I typically see this done with big, flashy signature and finishing maneuvers. This may be one of the only times I've seen this done with more basic wrestling moves. I've seen tilt-a-whirl DDTs and stunners more times than I can count, but this match made them feel fresh and new in ways that I couldn't have even imagined. This match was amazing, a definite recipient of the "you need to watch this right now" award. It immediately made me a die-hard fan of both of them. Match 4, Los Guerrilla de Celo versus the Inner City Machine Guns, and I think it's safe to say that this match is going to contain all the flippy shit, and yep, not even pretending to be anything else. Ricochet and Angelico start things off and immediately start running the ropes. Jumps, flips, kick-ups, Hurricane Rana, breakdancing, and the match only started a minute ago. Fuck everything and let's dance. Jack Evans and Rich Swann have a dance-off, which ends when Swann accidentally DDTs himself. Also, throughout all of this, Joey Ryan and Excalibur have been fucking hilarious on commentary. Let's actually get this match started. Evans takes advantage of Swann's self-inflicted injury and gets a few bits of offense in until Swann hits back and tags Ricochet in. They go back and forth until it all breaks down and resets about 15 minutes in. Also, Jack is trying really hard to be a heel in this match, even shouting at Rick Knott, which in PWG is akin to curd stomping a puppy in front of its mother. Finish sees Angelico hit Fall of the Angels, turn around and do a jumping senton over the turnbuckle post onto Ricochet before Jack Evans finishes the match by hitting a 630 senton onto Swann for the free count. Again, something just didn't quite click with these guys. There were some awkward silences and hesitation between them that took me out of the experience on more than one occasion. Granted, those instances were very few, but when the match is building up to a big tag team move, anything that loses your immersion in the match severely hampers the overall impact of that move. Those few hiccups ultimately don't stop this from being an enjoyable match, but coming off the heels of Andrew's Ospreay, those few hiccups really do leave an impression. Match 5. Trent versus Trevor Lee. Trent doing his tag team pose without Chuck Taylor was pretty enjoyable, although it does remind me that I miss seeing Chucky T and the Best Friends as regulars in PWG. Not a lot of laying about here. This match has been go, go, go since the bell run. I love the antics Trent gets up to, but it is a refreshing change of pace to see him more focused and serious. Although that seriousness does get him German suplexed onto the apron, so maybe it's not so good. Sequence ends with Trent hitting an inverted Hurricane Rana on Lee, which is the 4th inverted Hurricane Rana we've seen in 5 matches. There really should be some more communication between everyone involved here, because a move like that should not be so commonplace. If an inverted Hurricane Rana loses its impact, then that move is pretty much never worth doing because of how dangerous it is, and at this point it's starting to get there. Finish sees Lee hit a small package driver for the free count. Trevor Lee advances to the second round. Very good match overall. Trent looked great in singles action and held his own against Lee very well. I question Lee kicking out with Trent hitting 2 finishes on him in succession, but that's just an indie wrestling trope that I have a great dislike of. Outside of those 2 minor issues, very good showing from both competitors here. Match 6, Drago versus Pentagon Jr. in a battle between the 2 wrestlers with the best attires in the business. No introductions for this one. First move was hit before the bell even rang, and the first move hit after the bell rang was a tope con hilo. This one is going to be very high flying and a heavy hitting match, which is immediately proved in the next minute when Pentagon hits a big overhand chop. Not a lot of transition stuff here, they just go from spot to sequence with just a few generic strikes and laying down in between. The spots and sequences are done pretty well with little to no botching, so it's still enjoyable to watch. It's just kind of clear what they're doing, so sometimes you're taking out of the match as you can obviously see one of them moving into the position that they have to be in. Finish sees Drago miss a top rope splash onto Pentagon, who proceeds to package pile drive Drago for the free count. Pentagon Jr. advances to the second round. Another good match overall, added a lot by the crowd who seemed fucking rabid to be able to chant for Pentagon Jr. I wish there was more thought given to setting up the sequences and spots than there was, but it didn't detract too much and was very cool to see more Lucha Underground stars in PWG. Speaking of which, match 7. Fenix versus Matt Sydal. From what I have seen of both competitors, they have similar high-flying styles, but those styles have been developed and enhanced in 2 very different wrestling environments. I'm looking forward to see how these 2 clash together. A slow-ish start with some chain wrestling, although even when chain wrestling, they've still got to get the flips in. The pace is technical and slow, with Sydal showing why he's the veteran by working over Fenix's right leg, which then doesn't matter as Fenix performs a top rope springboard dropkick. Admittedly, it's a very impressive dropkick, but still, why even work over the leg if it's not going to matter 20 seconds after you've just finished applying a submission to it? Although on the flip side, Fenix's handspring cutter into Dragon Sleeper combination was fucking awesome. Pace starts to pick up with both competitor hitting bigger and bigger moves, the pinnacle of which is Fenix jumping from the top rope to the outside, rotating 720 degrees before crashing down onto Sydal. And you know what the ridiculous thing is? That move almost immediately gets one-upped with Fenix. You know what? I don't even know how to describe this. Jumping Yoshi Tonic into a Hurricane Rana, maybe? The finishing sequence sees Fenix hit a springboard top rope Spanish fly, Sydal kicks out, performs another inverted Hurricane Rana, god damn it guys, and a shooting Sydal press gets Matt the free count. Matt Sydal advances us to the second round. Okay, so with these I try very hard not to just describe what's happening in the matches. That works fine for written reviews, but since I have visuals to go along with my commentary, I think it's counterproductive to just describe every big move in the match. My commentary for this match was more me just describing moves than I would typically want, but I think it was necessary to get across just how crazy some of this match got. These two really went at it and laid it all on the line. I know it's a phrase that PWG likes to roll out maybe once too often, but anywhere else this match would have been the main event and absolutely stolen the show. Here however, we've got one more match to go, and that is probably going to be even crazier than this, and as of right now, this isn't even my match of the night, but don't let that detract from the match. This was fucking stellar and a definite receiver of the You Should Watch This Right Now award. Match 8 and your main event, Eurotrash, Tommy N, Zack Sabre Jr. and Marty Scurll versus Mount Rushmore 2.0, Roderick Strong and Matt and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks. Some high emotions running their course in this match, Zack trying to fight Roderick before the match even starts. Roderick and Zack start things off, and of course Roddy tags out immediately. Sometimes the classics are the best. We actually start off with each face getting in some offense so the people know what's up. Tommy's a striker, watch those kicks. Marty's playing the technician with a focus on some more playful, innovative transitions. And of course, Zack's the technician who is smoother than glass and just playing better at it than you. Apart from one small section, Eurotrash works over 2.0 for a surprisingly long time, each guy getting a chance to show off what they're good at. Makes sense. By comparison to 2.0, each member of Eurotrash is very new, and in Marty's case, completely new to PWG. So the whole opening allows each member to show off what they got. Eventually, 2.0 does take back control with some crazy tag team offense, subtly reminding us that, while new, these guys are in fact a team, whereas Eurotrash are just three singles competitors who have just been thrown together. Nick and Marty recreate the Brock Taker sit-up laughing spot from SummerSlam, which ends with the Young Bucks double choke slamming Marty. Good stuff here guys, put a huge smile on my face. Speaking of which, a huge reset sequence lets everyone look fucking amazing and is legitimately one of the best tag team reset sequences I've seen in a long time. 2.0 continue their heelish ways by throwing Rick Knox into Zack and hitting each member of Eurotrash with a chair. There are some more fantastic maneuvers by 2.0, in particular a beautiful end of Heartache 450 splash combination. Finish sees Zack Sabre Jr. get fucking destroyed by all of 2.0 as Roddy gets the free count, and we are finished with stage 1. This one also gets the You Should Watch This Right Now award, although primarily for the reset sequence and some of the more interesting tag and trio maneuvers. A lot of this match was the kind of thing you've come to expect from PWG and their 6-man tag team matches, which is to say incredibly talented, compelling wrestling. However, I've arbitrarily decided that the award should be reserved for matches that surprise you or have something more to offer than you would expect going in. Very good showing overall, though that's pretty much the starting point when describing a PWG event. I said earlier, this tournament showcases some of the best wrestling on the planet, and that shines through. There's only one match on the card that I would say is objectively below PWG's usual average, Cage Star, though I would also describe Los Guerrero in a City and Drago Pentagon Jr. as personally disappointing. The other 5 matches are all fantastic affairs, with Andrew Ospreay easily taking match of the night. But this show is of course just stage 1, so join me viewers as we move on to stage 2.